What's up, heathens? How y'all doing? I'm the Godless engineer, and I critically analyze apologist claims to give you the best arguments and information so that you can stand up and use your voice. Today's video is a clip from The Line. If you want to catch me on The Line, I'm on there once a month to host Skept Talk. The Line also has a number of other shows that you might be interested in. So after you watch this clip today, why don't you go on over there, subscribe, and be sure to catch the next show. No, that's you're fine. I mean, it's your show technically. Anyways, all right. Next, we're gonna be talking to Frank. What up there, Frank? How you doing?
Yeah. Hello.
Hi.
I'm here.
Yeah, how you doing wasn't a yes or no question there, Frank.
Oh, it wasn't a yes or no question?
How are you, man?
Oh, how am I? Sorry. I'm just trying to get off the speakerphone here. Sorry. I'm doing all right. What's up?
It's y'all's show. You all take it.
Yeah. What do you want to talk about, Frank?
Okay. Hey, guys. What's up? Hey, I was wondering if you guys could address, like, the similarities between the old Bible slavery crap and, like, the modern day, abusers, the modern day people who treat people like objects, and they basically try to run the whole family, the whole, whatever group they're in. They try to do the same thing. They try to treat the people beneath them. Everybody's beneath them. We're all objects. And I was wondering if you guys do you see the similarities at all?
Yeah, I mean, well, I tell you what, John, maybe I could sort of give a broad overview maybe of the way that slavery functioned and its comparisons to, like the broader family unit in the ancient Near East in general, and of course, what we see in the Hebrew Bible. And then if you want to draw that comparison to something more modern, essentially slavery in a lot of ways, looking at it from the perception of a constellation of characteristics, there's a lot of similarity actually in certain aspects between what the father, the paterfamilias, could do in the ancient Near East, the head of the household, what he could do with his wife or his children or his slaves or any other property that he had, and that doesn't mean that there is some equation to be made between the status of a wife, the status of a son or daughter, and the status of a slave. They're distinct roles. But there are a lot of things that show similarity, right? So, for example, a father could, as we see in places like Exodus 21, 7 through 11, could sell his daughter into slavery to pay off a debt, right? That was perfectly legitimate, perfectly legal. And members of a household could be pledged to a creditor in the case of a debt, and so and then the pledge would then be made to work to serve as in the capacity essentially of a slave in all intents and purposes as a slave, and so there was direct control very much in that way. That now that some of the differences are their established rights that according to the law that wives had, that children had, that slaves obviously did not. And that is not to say that even chattel slaves had no rights. That's not the case. And certainly debt slaves had more rights, but children and wives had more. But there's a lot of similarities. It's a very patriarchal society, right? I mean, it's really the bottom line here. And so I think when we think about it from just that broad patriarchal society standpoint, I think, John, you could probably make a lot of comparisons to people today that still operate as I see them every day on social media, people that are very much entrenched in fundamentalist evangelicalism, where they make statements like, I'm the man, the buck stops here. I've got the responsibility. My wife should be cooking me meals and, being a good homemaker, and my kids sit still in the pew. And like there's still very much that patriarchal structure. Not that it's my area of expertise, but John, maybe you could speak to it more.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of the slavery, I guess, kind of thinking in those kind of interpersonal relationships that even occur now. I mean, you've got the the Quiverfull movement kind of still operates in this similar respect, in that the head of the household's the father, and they've even got this whole system worked out where it's like the father approves of like anyone that dates the daughter or courts the daughter or anything like that. So like they throw in this sort of air of consent like now, instead of just not even considering. Because when I read the Old Testament, like when you read about like for instance Jacob purchasing I forget his name, Laban's daughters, Rachel and Leah. There's no talk of consent there when it comes to that. I mean, it's literally just a dude who doesn't have money, so he pledges his hard work for 7 years in order to purchase one of the women, and then he ends up purchasing both women. But there's no real worry about the consent of the women in that. They're just sold off like their property. And you see some similar aspects to that in like the Quiverfull movement. You've also got stuff like who's that woman on Twitter? She's like the traditional wife or transformed wife. That's right, honey. She has the whole women should be in the kitchen barefoot and pregnant and all this other stuff, and the men should be out there making the money, and they should make all the decisions. And then you have this whole traditional kind of movement within evangelical Christianity of like, and you even see this sometimes in politics now. It's starting to creep into like mainstream politics of thinking that, oh well, ever since we gave women the right to vote, or we started promoting them having jobs and everything like that, like shit's just gone downhill, and like now we have this, that, and the other thing that I think is bad. And so you have that kind of thinking that's still that very patriarchal, like the women should, or the men should be in control of everything. And that in the Bible there's this hierarchy of like there's God, there's Jesus, and then as far as earthly goes, it's the man that's above the wife, and the wife is above the children. So it's like each one's subservient to the next, and it's still this whole idea of slavery. And I mean, there are still some latent aspects, even in my bringing up. I was brought up with some aspects of that, just the whole idea that you weren't supposed to question your parents, and that actually taught me that I wasn't supposed to question anybody in authority. So it's like if somebody told me something kind of weird, then I wouldn't think anything of it. It's only later after I got out of that I was like, oh shit, yeah, I wouldn't, like, there's no way I'd be okay with that. But it's like at the time, I was kind of brought up to just obey, and I think that's kind of a product of that. So yeah, I don't know if we answered your question.
One way to establish the authority there is, I mean, now it's obvious that physical damage to people is not okay. It's not cool to beat your kids. It's we all know that. We all are growing here, but these people, just like liars that never really change. They just get better at lying. These people, they move from the physical and they go into the psychological and emotional abuse, and it's all for the same reason, to control these people. And I'm seeing, not just me, but we're seeing a lot of similarities with the Bible, and the people that refer back to the Bible, they're just defending their own way of life, which is, to treat people as objects. There's no respect. We don't respect each other as, another human being either. It's either lower or higher than me. Like you said about the authority, I know that feeling. And that's what pretty much I just wanted to say. And also, when these people call in about the Bible and they say, what came before the Big Bang or the Bang, the multiverse, and it's another thing they're doing. They're just flipping shit around. They're flipping around. And, I mean, it's just obvious. How do you make something out of nothing? You create God. All right, guys. It's good seeing you, Godless. I haven't seen you
Thank
while
you,
you
Frank.
dropped off my my YouTube, but glad you're back. Bye.
Thank you, Frank. Glad to have you on the show and everything like that. So appreciate you, man.
Before you go to the last one, I do have to jump in with one correction. You brought up Laban,
Okay.
Laban, right?
Right.
It's actually pronounced Leiron. That was only to make Josh laugh. I'm sorry. It's sort of an inside joke. Okay.
I'm sitting there racking my brain thinking, what detail did he get wrong? I thought he hit that pretty right, So thanks for that, Jimmy.
You're welcome.
What's up, Heathen? Thank you so much for checking out this clip from The Line. If you enjoyed this clip today, you can get more of it by subscribing to The Line. So hit up those links in the description so you can catch me the next time I host Skept Talk. I don't know, was that 20 seconds? Here's some filler shit for, to fill out the 20 seconds. I don't know. Go fuck yourself, Jimmy.